Good morning, everybody. My name is Minesh Baxi, and welcome to Speakers Supporting Speakers. And we host wonderful people here and speakers. And today we'll be hosting
Are
a
you off today?
TEDx speaker. So, first of all, today, welcome. And we have Anjan Sampath. He's a TEDx speaker and Gen Z leadership expert who helps professionals and organizations turn communication into credibility and opportunity. With a background in technology and over a decade of experience working in high performance environments, he focuses on one critical skill most people overlook: how to be seen, heard, and trusted in today's workplace. Anjan is known for breaking down complex ideas into simple, practical framework that help individuals build confidence, speak with clarity, and create real impact in their careers. Please welcome TEDx speaker Anjan Sampath.
Hello. It was 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. I walk into the office, and the first thing that happens is my manager calls me into a meeting. And he tells me, all of our jobs are at risk, including yours. And you have 30 days. And if you don't add value, you're going to lose it. I was shocked. This was my first job after getting a master's degree and a 4.0 GPA and clearing many rounds of interview. I was in a tense moment. It was also 2008, the great financial crash. How many of you remember that? It was a time when businesses were failing, people were let go, and even in my workplace, many of my mentors, people who trained me, they were let go. In this pressure moment, three things were standing out. One, the market outside is brutal. Two, I have to pay my bills. And how do I do that? And three, every perception I had that talent is going to take me forward lay shattered. See, academia never teaches you how to navigate fear and pressure. And pressure is something that you cannot deal with just motivations and mindsets. It requires something far deeper: behaviors and habits. Because under pressure, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall back to the level of our habits. And here I am, trying to figure out and build a habit to earn a new currency called trust to ensure I continue getting the actual currency. And as I was about to figure this, an email drops into my inbox about customer complaints saying a process that would retain customers was taking hours to fix. And that was creating so much chaos and noise. I saw this as an opportunity. From everything I knew this wouldn't take this long. So now I built the habit of making sure I lead this, even though nobody gave me a title, nobody gave me a leadership title, and yet I decided to take it up. I started collaborating with everybody who had a stake in this problem and its outcome. And after hours and days of meetings, understood what are the gaps. And when I finally identified, that was the easiest part. The toughest part came next. How do you walk into a room full of executives and convince about your solution and the outcome? This is not something you learn by public speaking or communication skills, or just by doing slideshows and presentations. This is pure communication that must land as conviction, where your ideas land and you be trusted. I was nervous, I was anxious, and as I walked into this room, so many people didn't even know I existed in the company. And when I started my conversation, I didn't even start with the solution. I started by saying how much the company is losing every second if this problem is not fixed. Suddenly, the whole room was leaning. They were waiting to see what I would say. And then I started saying what the company is going to save when this is fixed. And when I talked about my solution, they gave a go ahead. When this was implemented, the whole process that was taking 2 hours to complete was now complete in less than 90 seconds. It was a big breakthrough for the company. And that day, I learned two important things. Executive presence is far more powerful that establishes trust than talent will ever will. And two, that my success also created success for my manager. We both won. Now, before I go about what's happening today, how many of you here have somebody in your life who is in their 20s? It could be son, daughter, nephew, niece. How many of you, by raise, can just raise your hands, who are in the age of 20s right now? All of you here, right? Now, keep that person in focus for the next few minutes. If that was 2008, 18 years later, in 2026, we think we would have figured this out, right? No, we haven't. 20% of America's corporate workforce is now Gen Z, an entirely new generation who are in their 20s, who have different psychology, mindset, perspectives, and opinions. And managers are having trouble and frustration working with them. They say they lack ownership, they lack initiative. Sometimes some managers don't even want to hire and work with them. And on the other side, you have this Gen Z, extremely talented and hardworking, but still complain, I am not visible. Both sides are right, and both are losing. Companies are spending thousands of dollars to get these new people in, only to figure out in less than 1 year they're leaving the company. It is the first time that a generation is the fastest to be hired and the quickest to be fired. Managers do spend time in training and coaching, but that's where the problem is. Everything is effective during the duration of the workshop or coaching. Once that's done, they go back, they resort to their default habits. This is where I step in and what I do. Over the past few years, I've been coaching Gen Z professionals, not through mindsets or motivations, but through specific behavioral habits that can be repeatedly applied that has caused transformations in their career. With one manager coming back to me and saying, I never expected my early career talent to be so productive quickly. Or one Gen Z coming back and saying, I don't have to force myself to be visible because my thinking itself is visible. Friends, we are at a reflection point. Never before in the history of human mankind we have reached this point where something excess and something deficit both are equally present at the same time. The one in excess is talent. AI has penetrated everything. So even if you don't have job-related talent, AI is already giving you that, which means you can just get talented, just get the talent required to do your job. But what is lacking is trust. The ability to think sharply, to communicate convincingly, and to take that leadership when you are stuck, when something is stuck. Because AI cannot do that. It's a human problem. It always has been. And that's why it's my mission to bring that transformation to Gen Z and the workforce. In this journey, I had the rare privilege to work with the world's number one motivational and transformational speaker, Les Brown. In his book, where he's the primary author, I had the opportunity to co author my chapter. And in this chapter, I talk about the future and the path for the success of Gen Z and the workplace. And I'm going to share that ebook link here in the chat. And if that's something that's interesting to you, please go ahead and take that. And lastly, if any of these resonates with you, anybody in your network who is a Gen Z, who is talented and struggling to get visibility, or a manager who understands and battles this struggle, let's have a conversation to explore whether what I do is what they need. And I'm ready to give 30 minutes of my time for that. Friends, talent is silent, and only trust through these visible behaviors can give voice and vision to it. Thank you.
Great, congratulations, great job. Thank you, Anjan, and we really appreciate you taking the time today to be here. And there is a link in the chat so you can take advantage of it. And I know we've got great group of people here. I want to give a couple of minutes to Anjan. So, Anjan, first of all, thanks for being here and great job and providing good idea about the value, the Gen Z, which is really your target market. He was TEDx speaker on the same stage with me and Sahil just last August, and we got to know him really well. He's very good speaker. He won the 3 minute story contest that we had and got to spend time with him for a couple of days also in in Lake Mary, sorry, in Orlando last year as well. So I want to just ask a couple of quick questions for you. So give us a little bit more about your background for those who don't know, because I know a couple of people joined a little late. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Anjan.
Thank you, Minesh, and thank you for continuing to inspire me all the time. I had a great time on TEDx with you as well. Um, I have 25 years in corporate experience. I have worked on both sides of the equation, like the early career talent and also a manager who had people reporting to me. But more than anything else in this whole journey, I learned many things along the way. The most important thing is it's very important to have habits in life because that's the only thing that can help us move, not only when we are on the road to success, but most importantly, when we are stuck and trying to figure out a path. That's been the most important, I would say, the life lesson I have learned in my journey. And in my journey of this 25 years, I've been part of so many pivotal moments where it just that the pressure that I had to deliver something was so much that it continued to transform me. And that's why, even when I spoke on TEDx, the message that I shared was something that I learned early on in my childhood from my teacher that continues to inspire me even today.
Well, thank you. And that was a great story. So, for those who haven't watched it, I'm sure Anjan can put a link in the chat so you can go and watch his TEDx talk because it was very inspiring about how teenagers, the one of the phrases he used before as well, which I really think is very pivotal for each one of us when we are looking to succeed. Because sometimes when we are inspired, we can do a lot of great things. We have great energy, great motivation. But when the opposite is going on, which is what Anjan was talking about. So, what is that statement you say? I think everybody should really pay attention to that statement. I'm assuming you know what statement I'm referring to.
Yes, when we are under pressure, we think we will rise to the level of our goals, but we actually fall back to the level of our habits.
Exactly. So, if you and I are not training ourselves to do certain habits over and over and over, when the moment is there, right? The critical moment, and we have to perform, and we may be depressed, disillusioned, or just facing a tough time. If we haven't built the habits, we won't get the results we are looking for. And that's really the key message, which I really loved about his TEDx talk and today as well that he mentioned. Which are the stages that you're looking to be on so people who are watching, listening can connect you with those people who have maybe a podcast or a stage that you want to be on?
Sure. If you have any companies or any HR managers who actually are dealing with this struggle to make sure that Gen Z, their early career talent, is productive, then that's a platform I would love to be there, understand their problem, and see what I can do to bring the transformation. Because this is a big thing for companies. They're spending so many dollars, thousands of dollars, to make sure that they are productive, and this is important for them. And any stages where you see that the graduates who go out of the college and enter the corporate workforce, the very first year, there's hardly anybody who would say, how do I understand working in this corporate workplace? This is a ongoing theme. So anywhere that you see Gen Zers struggling, because it's their life, it's their career, it's their future. So we need to make sure we give everything that's needed for their success. And that's a platform too that I would love to give that transformation.
Thank you. And who has a podcast here? Please connect with Anjan as well. And I know Anjan has been on my podcast. He has been on my children's podcast as well. So we want to promote people who are here. And for those who don't know, my son has a podcast called Future Millionaires. My daughter has a podcast called Getting Speakers Book. So if you're somebody who has not been on these podcasts yet, I would highly encourage you to do that. And if you're somebody who has a podcast and you want to share that today, you're welcome to put that link because I want to continue to promote and provide more opportunities for people to cross promote as much as possible. Like right now, Vaishali Joshi and Kathy Hyder are not on the call because Kathy is going to be speaking and Vaishali's stage, and they met in this particular room. So Friday networking is where they met, and that's how they got to know each other. And I know Anjan, you know both of them as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Vaishali has a program called Beyond Bold, which he'll be hosting live in person as well as Zoom events as well. So thank you, Anjan, once again. Is there anything else you want to add for our people to before we move to the other part of the program today?
Now, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for everybody to join this call today. Hope what I spoke resonated with you. And let's move to build the habits to transform our lives.
Perfect. Thank you, Anjan. We appreciate that tremendously.